We got the background NPC. Everybody in the industry is telling themselves something they really need to be true right now. Oh, something they really need to be true right now. Okay, I got it. I don't know why that did not process. Insomniac's community director said the Wolverine memes have been a relentless onslaught. Meanwhile, the game's press has moved on to calling a $70 Sony game a victim of internet negativity. Halo Campaign Evolve launched the lowest player count in the series history with a 5.2 user score, while a laid-off dev posted on LinkedIn called it a successful launch. And then we all know about Bethesda, and she's going to go into like GTA 6 and Kingdom Hearts 4 and all that. So I thought that was interesting. I like the background. And people subscribed? What the? Oh, different account. Different account. But I like her. I like her videos. Yeah, so let's check it out. I had been seeing people been ripping on Wolverine. You know? I've been seeing it. Let's check it out.
You really want to be true? Like, I am sticking with the workout this time. I am finishing this game before I start another one. I am going to put out a video every single week.
Yeah, I wish.
Well, the people making our games have gotten really good at it too. Like Insomniac saying internet memes and criticism surrounding Wolverine have been a relentless onslaught. Bethesda protesters saying Bethesda makes great games people love.
What? Blue hair? That's all I gotta see. That's all I gotta see anymore. All I gotta see is blue hair, and I know how serious I need to take it. Is that an atomic war? Like an atomic bomb? Layoffs? Layoffs never change?
Or
Right,
laid off
let's see.
Halo devs stating Halo Campaign Evolved had a successful launch. If the last decade has taught us anything, it is that there is an increasingly bizarre disconnect between so many of these AAA studios and the people buying their games, between executives and their own studios, between journalists and players, between what the industry says is true and what is very obviously actual reality. Because while we are getting LinkedIn post after LinkedIn post about layoffs, even from people who just shipped a self-proclaimed successful game, I'm also watching players post celebrations about those same layoffs, some of them with millions of views.
What did that say? Chuds rejoice as woke video game studio Bethesda crushed by mass layoffs. Bro, you know what is so funny? Chud is like an insult, right? You're just like a fat loser incel, right? The fact that they took it and then tried to disempower the word by using it as their own, it makes me think of the N-word, honestly. Like how that was a word used, a derogatory word used against a race of people, then the race of people decided to take it into their own and use it to not only take the negative power away from it, to also take their own ownership of it. It's so hilarious to me to see it with chuds. And then that's just a funny ass sounding word. Like, let's be honest. Oh my god, sorry.
Some of them with millions of views. Gamers have spent years feeling like they were yelling at a wall, watching their hobby get more expensive in every way, watching their favorite franchises get worse, watching quality continue to drop, while everyone inside these companies kept insisting things were going great. And at the same time, Western AAA has spent years getting insulated from reality, from its customers, from any real criticism, and eventually from its own failures. And while 2026 may be the year of the horse for China, it is the year of the chud for gamers, and more importantly, it is the year the market has finally stopped letting everybody play pretend. But before we get into all of that, it is really great to be back. I hope you've been having a great summer. I know I disappeared again. I am so sorry. There were some side quests I had to go take care of, and as penance, please accept this picture of my dogs. But a lot has happened over the past month.
Those were pretty cute dogs, honestly.
Let's do a super quick catch up first. GTA 6 is coming to Netflix. The extended preview of the game, that is. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize we could reach this level of advertising, and it means that there are people out there.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, the trailer for a game is hitting Netflix. Netflix and other streaming services, even games nowadays, they're hitting the ads, commercials, all that. We are going so far that we are reverting back to like 90s TV, where it was every 5 minutes you were getting like 3 minutes of ads. You know what I mean? Like, in reality, 30 minutes of a TV show, you're getting like you're not getting 20 minutes of the show. Like, let's be real, like it got bad. So then when you had Netflix search like as a streaming service, it went insane because we're like, oh, I could just sit there and binge watch. Oh, I could just watch. And as time passes, it's all streaming, but we're still reverting back into the commercial ad apocalypse. And then games, dude. Games are getting like a premiere on it. That's how big GTA 6 is, though. That's the wait. Isn't that insane? A game has reached that level of notoriety, awaiting its release. It's getting a Netflix premiere. Honestly, it's impressive.
Right now, paying for a subscription specifically to watch a GTA 6 ad. Yeah, well, but we also got more info on Kingdom Hearts 4, including its launch window of late 2027. I'm pretty excited for this.
I've never played one. Is it still on sale on Steam? No one ever answered me. I feel like I went my whole life without playing it. And I'm not going to lie. I could be wrong. Kind of feels like a girl game. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean like it seems like it would appeal to girls. Like her aesthetic, like I'd just be like, oh yeah, you know, cool Disney fantasy game. Like I don't know why that's not me. I'm a little more darker, I guess. Or I enjoyed the more darker setting, more serious or darker. I don't know how to say it without sounding like it's better, but I just enjoy better games. No, I'm just kidding. Where am I?
I had a lot of the Kingdom Hearts games on my old PlayStation consoles, but
never played them.
I since sold them all. So I did the only reasonable thing, and I just bought the main trilogy on Steam, which is only like $30 for all three right now. I'm actually pretty excited to play all of them again, including Kingdom Hearts 3, which, you know what they say, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. Swords and Slippers and Knight's Path are back on my timeline, with one of the female characters being described as horny.
Whoa, that's sick.
And if you guessed it was the fully clothed medieval maiden with a little bit of cleavage standing there with her cat, you would be correct. Now, I don't think either of these characters could be described as horny, whatever that means, but these devs do know exactly who they are building for, and they are not interested in being bullied into building for anything else. The war on pretty female characters rages on, so thank you to the devs fighting the good fight. Speaking of which, we got more time.
Are we going to... she's pretty. Why are they still going... Like, no one wants to play a fat bull dyke or just a 2 out of 10 grungy chick. No one wants to play them. I don't even really care to deal... I don't even really care to deal with them in, let me go over here. Or should I go above her?
Of Annihilation. The combat in this game continues to look really fun. Gwendolyn is looking a little bit different this time around, but still absolutely stunning. And now there is some speculation that Angela Sandobuono may be stepping in for Jennifer English as her new voice actress, which, if that ends up being true, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Unfortunately, not every upcoming game has been having quite the same effect, which brings us to Wolverine. So for weeks now, we've been getting more and more Wolverine content as the game gets closer to release, and I'll be honest, this was never really a game for me. Alright, and the more that I have seen of it, the less interested I have become. It appears some of the internet may feel that way too now, and Insomniac has gone on the record about it. Their community and marketing director posted this, saying, I think the wild way this algorithm amplifies and forces negativity upon you has me reconsidering my philosophy of telling devs to look or post here. It is a relentless onslaught that I cannot believe is good for anyone's mental health, nor representative. A relentless onslaught. It's a really intense word to use, so
I completely agree with her. That was a overkill of what's going on. I think a big reason people are shitting on the game, it's whether it's fair or not, I don't really care. Like, it's Wolverine, so if you know anything about a character, you have to expect a hack and slash. He's a savage dude that has a healing factor with metal claws. Like, it's literally perfect for a hack and slash video game. So it's something you have to kind of expect. And then, you know, they can add in whatever they want to mix it up, because a hack and slash, granted, is going to get repetitive without just having a progressive loop throughout the game to just make it harder and harder and harder. like you're gonna have to add some mix-ups, right? Some puzzles, stealth missions. He has like a really good keen sense of smell. You add like maybe tracking, just different things like that. And that's what I expect out of the game. Same, also to go back to people shitting on Halo, like it's the original Halo just kind of like revamped, right? Like what did people really expect? Like a complete new, like mind-breaking game. It's the first game. They sprinkled in some changes, but they just revamped the first game. Like that's what it was. Why are you expecting something completely more? And if you are expecting something completely more or something completely different, let me know, because I definitely wasn't. And it'd be interesting to hear, like, wow, I never thought of it.
Went and looked for this onslaught, braced myself a little, and it's Ben 10. People are making jokes about this game, reminding them of Ben 10, and that a chase sequence leaves a little.
To be fair, that is pretty, like, it was pretty spot on. I never played Ben 10, but I swear if you grew up back in the day, there's a million Mega Man, Metroid, Sonic. Like, there's tons of old games back in the day that have like the giant balls and it's half their body, and they shoot lasers, do a few slams, a few swipes, and you just like dodge and attack when you can. Like, that's a classic boss scenario. So I thought it was like a cool throwback to have. It felt like a throwback to have that in there with a today's style game. But the movements were pretty spot on with the Big Ten boss, Ben 10.
Behind Sabretooth when he runs, so the modern audience doesn't get lost, and overall just a fair amount of memes about how they don't think this game looks very good. And then the rest of it, the part that isn't memes, is just people having opinions about the game itself. Really unappealing character designs, which Insomniac seems to take genuine pride in, the cheesy dialogue, the fact
I do think it's funny when we talk about unappealing or ugly character designs. And I feel like nowadays it's off of like a real person now. Like they have like a real person doing it, you know, wearing the suit and doing the thing. Like, did they sit there and they see that and they're like, oh shit, am I ugly? Which can't be the case. Like, for instance, the girl from True Blood and Daredevil, what's the new God of War? Freya? I feel like in real life, she's a lot prettier than what they made her in the game. Like, I feel like they did her an injustice to her.
fact that what has been shown off looks like the same generic Sony movie game formula that we've been handed for the better part of a decade.
Yep.
Gameplay and boss fights that have been done for years, and of course, Sweet Baby Ink being involved, which at this point, most people can probably spot from space. None of that is an onslaught. That is just a reaction to marketing for a product you were getting ready to release to the public. But like clockwork, the journalists have shown up to defend the game from the evil chud discourse, claiming that this game is yet another victim of the internet's endless gaming negativity.
Oh my god.
A victim. A 70.
They want you to shut up and eat their shit. Just shut up and eat your shit food, right? That's what Blizzard did to their WoW people, and that mid portion, that I would say the mid portion of Blizzard and WoW's ongoing kingdom. They had that negative. I feel like they had that attitude. You think you want it, you don't want it. You know what I mean? Like, they just had it like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and just buy our game and play it. Nah. And I think that's where we're at now. We're going to get to a point where people are just going to be little crybabies. Everybody's always going to complain about something. No one likes everything, right? Or not everybody likes everything. Whatever. But shit, if multiple people, tons of people have the same opinion, you gotta take it. You gotta be like, damn, I guess we made an ugly Wolverine. Damn, guess we made a cheesy game. It didn't hit with the masses. Because it's not like they're just picking on the company. When the company gets a reputation and they don't listen to the people and they continue the same shit, yeah, people, it will be ongoing. It will be an onslaught. But when you listen and you make changes, like Hello Games with No Man's Sky, or there's a couple other games, right? They came out, people shitted on it, everybody voiced their opinion. They were like, damn, okay, let's regroup, let's make our changes. Made the changes. Now they're like heroes. People support indie games. People support, like, everyone loves that underdog, or they love being heard. But like I said, you can't like do it for everything constantly, because if you're trying to appease everyone, eventually you will appease no one.
Dollar game with a multi-million-dollar budget backed by Sony is a victim because people looked at what has been shown off and they have not been impressed. That is the framing that we are now going with, not, hey, I don't know, here's why we think you'll love this game. No, the game is a victim, and you're kind of a jerk, actually, if you're not gushing with excitement, ready to hand over your hard-earned cash. What's even crazier, though, is that this is Wolverine, one of the most beloved characters in comics, and getting the opportunity to work on a Marvel game like this should be a massive privilege. You have the opportunity to work with one of the most recognizable characters on the entire planet. 50-something years of comics, the movies, the cartoons, whole generations have come up with this character. But just like with Spider-Man, if you do him a disservice, of course, people are going to notice. If he suspiciously looks like a kinder version of that kid from Jumanji for some reason, people are gonna—
Oh, how have I never seen that? There was something about Wolverine, and I'm like, why does he look so familiar? And I could not put my finger on it. That is it. Oh my gosh. That is fucking hilarious.
Notice, but even with that being said, the bar for this game was never to go do something impossible. If Insomniac just had their head on straight, the bar was supposed to be, go do the thing you already know how to do. I really loved the 2018 Spider-Man, and I thought they did a great job with that game.
I thought that game was awesome.
Not been able to get back there. Either way, gamers are not here to protect a studio's feelings. We are the customer, and it is their job to sell us the game. People making jokes and criticizing creative decisions is not harassment. And what is so funny to me is how fast the blame comes and how familiar it all feels every single time. We saw it with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which said it was a battle that they fought and won. There was the Highguard dev who deleted his statements and his account twice. And now it is Insomniac.
That game's still a game.
It is the same with 3 steps every single time the game gets shown off, or in Highguard.
Is Highguard still a game? Let me know if Highguard's still a game.
Blasted to the Heavens by Jeff Keighley. People say what they think about it, sometimes very bluntly because it is the internet. And then instead of anybody in the studio going, huh, that is an awful lot of people saying the same specific thing, the response that comes back is that the audience is the worst. The audience is attacking us, the gamers are bullies, it is all a coordinated attack, and they are always the victims, which— if we just look at the balance of power in this specific situation, on one side you have got Sony, a billion-dollar publishing arm, 50 years of Marvel, and the games press writing your defense before the game is even out. On the other side, a guy who made a Ben 10 joke. But yes, it is gamers that are the Avengers-level threat. But speaking of assembling, let's talk about Halo and how somehow they managed to make every possible mistake a Western AAA studio could make. Now, I was never a huge Halo person. I knew what it was, obviously, but it was—
Halo 3 was my Halo. I didn't have Xbox for Halo 1 and 2. I just played at my friend's house. Obviously fun. And when 360 came out, and I had a 360, I was on Halo 3, like white on rice, baby, like a fly on shit. Loved it. Loved it.
Never my thing. It was my older brother's thing, and it was my husband's thing before I ever knew him. The whole LAN party era, I was a bit too young and much more interested in playing Zelda to care about any of that. But Halo is one of the most recognizable IPs in all of gaming. I would honestly argue it is Star Wars tier, and even if you've never played it, it is the game that your friend's older brother had, and it is the reason an entire generation of people know what a Warthog is. So
I was about to say, she's making me feel old by saying your older brother had, but I'll take it. At least she didn't say dad or uncle or something. We'll take older brother.
Watching what has happened to it after all these years is genuinely very sad to see. Halo Studios, which was 343 Industries for most of this, has been making Halo for almost 19 years. Almost 2 decades of one studio basically doing one thing, which is what makes the reporting on Campaign Evolved so hard for me to wrap my head around. An article came out recently detailing an allegedly pretty rough development cycle, things like not even realizing that assets would clearly need to be rebuilt for this remake, building in abstraction for technical work and level design across the campaign, which then reportedly fell apart. And again, this is a game that has been around for 25 years, and the studio that has spent 19 years doing nothing but trying to make Halo good again and failing hired another studio to
Are they going to make like MAGA hats? Make Halo great again?
design Halo levels. And underneath all of it, the studio head reportedly promoted people into leadership roles they were not even equipped for, leading to even more awful mismanagement. And then what happened when the game came out and actually reached players? Low numbers across Steam and PlayStation, mixed Steam reviews sitting in the low 60s, a 5.2 user score, the lowest launch player count in the series history, and complaints about basically everything. The new missions, the cringy dialogue, the insufferable masculine girl boss, the account requirements, the enemy AI, bugs.
What did we say in the beginning, bro? No one wants to play no one wants to play with or deal. Anyway, no one wants the damn bull dyke, bro. No one wants the 2 out of 10 annoying character.
5.2 user score, the lowest launch player count in the series history.
No one wants it.
Complaints about basically everything. The new missions, the cringy dialogue, the insufferable masculine girl boss, the...
See what I'm saying? And I bet you it could have been just like a one... I don't know. How much was this character in the game? Because I won't think twice. If it's like somebody you come across like one time or something like that, it's like, ugh, whatever. But if it's somebody that you're dealing with the whole game, that would make me not like the game.
Account requirements, the enemy AI, bugs, no multiplayer. Even the AI angel herself, Cortana, they germ at her. It is like somebody printed out the entire list of things that you are not supposed to do to a beloved franchise or, you know, just to a game in general, and then ran it start to finish without skipping a single one. And the parts that Halo Studios actually added themselves, the pieces that were uniquely theirs, the new missions, ended up being some of the most criticized things in the whole release. What is so crazy to me is that this should have been the safest assignment imaginable. This story already exists, the characters already exist, the levels exist, the game already worked and was extremely beloved by an enormous amount of people. You are remaking Halo, and it still turned into a case study of mismanagement, creative disconnect, lack of skill, followed a week or two after launch by layoffs, which we didn't even find out about through corporate announcement, by the way. We found out because people started posting it on LinkedIn. One of the devs wrote that after 6.5 years on Halo and dodging just as many rounds of layoffs, it had finally caught up with him. Another dev wrote that his time there ended following the successful launch of the latest game.
To be fair, let's look at it as we're running we're in Sony, right? And I'm in charge of the different studios. And I have this team that works directly on this one IP or franchise or game. And we are paying them to make the game, right? Obviously successful. And it flops. And like she said, it was a bunch of mismanagement, a bunch of failures on the production side. And you obviously know the internals, right? And then when it comes out, it's heavily criticized. It sucks. Boom, boom, boom. It fails. Why wouldn't you fire them? In all honest, like being honest, why wouldn't you fire them? Why would you keep? Well, like, we'll get it. Like, do you be like, we'll get them next time? What's the new project? Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to expect it. It can't come as a surprise, right?
Successful, right? And while it is hard to grasp, I do think that there is a real chance that these people believe the things that they are saying. Probably because this is the language that was being used around them the entire time. That is the only feedback they got. That is what was shared in the company meetings. That was what everybody in the building had already agreed upon that the launch would look like. But if your definition of success can include the lowest launch player count in Halo history, a 5.2 user score at best, mixed reviews, and layoffs 2 weeks later, I don't know what to say. I did not have high expectations for Ubisoft's Black Flag remake, and even they still ended up performing so much better than this game. And a not so fun fact to close this section out, both studios that have ever touched this franchise, Bungie and Halo Studios, had layoffs 6 weeks apart, all during Halo's 25th anniversary year, which is a pretty bleak way to celebrate a legacy. And speaking of bleak celebrations, let's go to a parking lot in Rockville, Maryland. After all the layoffs and the protests that took place last month, I honestly thought that we would get a little quiet out of Bethesda. We did not.
No,
Because on
son.
August 11th, Xbox leadership came out to visit Bethesda Game Studios, and Asha Sharma was there to see the current build of Elder Scrolls 6. The Bethesda workers there knew that she was coming, so to welcome her, the protesters put up posters outside of their cubicles, which management then told them they had to take down, or at least flip around. So the employees then switched to balloons, which is a weird escalation. Somebody sat there and thought about it and went, fine, they can take our posters. They are not taking our balloons. And then outside in the grass in front of the building, they planted 800 red flags, one for every worker that has been laid off since July of last year. And they brought out Scabby, who is a giant inflatable union rat that I did not even know existed until this happened.
Does it have udders?
Asha shows up to all of this, goes inside, looks at the game, and tweets out that the scale and grandeur of Elder Scrolls 6 are incredible. And she is right. That is a lot of grandeur. To which the Bethesda brand account replied, thanking her for the kind words and the wonderful visit. So the brand account is on X doing hospitality, while the staff is on the lawn with a rat. Bethesda, if you can hear me, you've got to wrangle in your union guys, because they are just having the opposite effect of what you probably want. Every time I see them pop up in headlines, I already know that they have just done something that is going to be completely dismissed by gamers, and more importantly, by Daddy Microsoft. But it is not just Bethesda. Since 2022, there have been over 45,000 layoffs in the gaming industry. The projection for this year alone is over 14,000, and you can look at a number like that on top of everything else.
We should make a YouTube video because I'm almost positive. I haven't done the research. We need to make a YouTube video where we do the research, right? We crunch the numbers, we run the analytics, and I am telling you, COVID ballooned and inflated this industry so incredibly much that it is 2026 and we are still seeing the repercussions and the effects of the bloated game studio gaming industry from that small COVID period. Look at this. 14,000 people by the end of the year. 14,000. They got like big, like they were Google themselves, dude. Like they were Microsoft themselves.
That everyone's been hit with for the past few years and go, all right, that's it. Gaming is dying. Except when you add all of them together, you see reportedly that 95% of those layoffs are happening in the West, with the majority of them in North America. Now, of course, overhiring and mismanagement is real. Corporate greed is very real. Unfortunately, I am sure very talented people have been swept up in these layoffs over the years, and there is a lack of job security in America. All of those things are playing a part here, but at what point can we also all be honest and say, maybe the hiring practices we put into place and bragged about for the past 5 or 6 years have had a directly negative impact on the games we've been making? Maybe building teams around DEI targets, ESG goals, ideological fit, social politics, or really anything other than who is actually the best
Completely agree with her. Preach, sister.
person for the job, who understands what it is we're making, and who genuinely wants to be here is contributing to the unsuccessful launches and cycles of layoffs. It is no secret that there is this environment of toxic HR positivity, especially inside Western AAA, and a lot of it comes from the top down. You are completely surrounded by it. I mean, if you are working at Bethesda, you can quite literally be standing next to a guy with an actual communist tattoo on his neck. I am not saying that to attack him personally. I bring it up.
You should. What the fuck? What an idiot, dude. He's got that commie neck. That means that's the whole community's neck.
Because it tells you something about the kind of ideological environment we are talking about here. What do you think the priorities are when that team is hiring? What does internal feedback even look like in an environment like that? Something like, comrade, respectfully, your quest is buns. I'm joking, obviously. We all know that there is no real feedback happening inside these companies, which makes me wonder what these companies are really taking away from
Probably because they created these stupid ass little DI echo chambers, dude.
any of this discourse, because at the exact same time we are seeing Wolverine, Halo, and Bethesda flounder and lose their audience support, we are watching smaller studios and independent developers put out games that reach absolutely ridiculous levels of success, games that in some cases are putting productions with hundreds of millions of dollars behind them to shame. And it is not because those developers necessarily had it easy.
Whoa!
Rocket Bear has dealt with enormous public pressure, harassment, and an entire population of Pokemon zealots preying on their downfall. Both Larian and Clair Obscur got dragged into witch hunts over AI. These studios have dealt with criticism, controversy, and accusations, but did they turn around and—
What is y'all's opinion on them using AI? Like, is it a hard no? Like, where do we stand? Because at first I was completely like, whatever. Like, at first, no, here we go. First I was like totally like hard, any AI, no, don't do it. And then I'm like, okay, AI is useful. Like, I get it, you know? And then you look into the aspects of studios wanting to use people's voices and their face and likeness, and then they can just AI them into anything. And I'm like, ooh, that just seems wrong. That just sounds wrong. And then how can you look at a game or something totally created with AI versus something a human actually made? And I feel like it's beyond just unfair. Like, yeah, it's unfair, you cheated, but also I don't think AI is there yet to where it can compare to what a human can do. Is it more efficient? Is it faster? Yes. But humans, we can put that creativity and that spark and that life into a project. So what's your opinions on AI in a game? No? Like no AI at all? Or are you like, it depends? But you know, when the time's going on, they can replace us. Amen. Can you imagine like back in factories when they started like putting the machines in and all the factory workers were like, damn, they're replacing us with robots. Now it's just the computer systems, dude. T8 said AI is good to be used as a tool to upscale or enhance, but to fully create something is a hard—
start fighting with their own audience base? Did we get corporate statements about the onslaught of opinions and memes and what it was doing to everybody's mental health? No. Now, again, I am not trying to make all of this sound like doom and gloom, because despite everything I have just spent this entire video saying, I really do think we are just starting to see a correction that was probably always going to come. This current version of Western AAA has survived for way too long. These companies have had decades of customer goodwill behind them, enormous franchises that people were emotionally attached to, and enough money in the bank to insulate themselves from bad decisions for years and years. They could lose people, disappoint people, release something mediocre, promise that the next one would be better, and there was always enough goodwill left over to keep the machine moving, but things are finally correcting. The year of the Chud is bringing us more and more into balance with every passing day. To be honest, Bethesda is really what inspired this entire video in the first place, all because of one protester.
I'm just taking a little break from work to refresh myself.
I have been told Bethesda makes great games people love. And that line has stuck with me for weeks now. I don't necessarily think that person was lying. I think the sadder possibility is that they meant it completely. Because if everyone around you says you're doing great, and that the game you're working on is great, and the journalists tell you is important, and the consultants tell you that it's inclusive, the internal metrics say engagement is promising, the award show tell you that what you're doing is brave, eventually, the only person left telling you something is very wrong is your customer.
Yes.
And eventually, if those customers continue to be the only people telling you something is wrong, you start to see them as the enemy.
She hit the nail on the head, dude. These game development companies or these little corporations, when they got so bloated, when they were getting all that COVID money, and when the internet society went all super, let's just put out our propaganda, our weird shit, and people were starting to eat like, all right, we'll just eat it, we'll play the game, and then eventually as the internet started getting more outspoken, they started speaking with their wallets, and now people aren't buying these games, people aren't playing these games, so these companies are spending millions of dollars, more than they should, because the development teams are way bigger than what they should be. They're charging more than what they should charge for worse games than we usually get. For what? For the game to flop, for it to concord and get canceled. And then now they're getting laid off. Now they're getting laid off and they're wondering why. It's because you didn't listen to the damn players, dude.
You can describe memes and gaming opinions as an onslaught that is terrible for your mental
Hell
health.
yeah.
You can insist people still love your games, even when you haven't actually given them a game that they've asked for in over a decade. Even if all of those things feel completely true inside the room where you're saying them, it does not make them true in reality. It does not make them true in player reviews. It does not make them true in player counts or copies sold. And it does not make them true in the discourse in social media. All of those things will always be based in reality, and it is about time some of these studios finally join.
Oh, I believe you.
If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for being here.
I don't even have to Google it.
I would love to know what you think about all of this. And what I said at the beginning is true, by the way. I really am trying to be more consistent with uploads, and I really appreciate your patience.
Give the background
because I know
NPC,
I have been coming and going.
a like and a subscribe.
I never want to be someone who is yapping for the sake of yapping, you know?
I'm gonna put it in the chat.
There should always be some kind of purpose behind the yap, and sometimes that means I sit on something probably longer than I should because I'm still figuring out what I want to say, but I am working on it.
Yeah, I feel like she hit the nail on the head on pretty much everything. I agree with the background NPC. These game companies, they're going to learn. They're going to have to learn. Otherwise, they'll just continue to get laid off.